It's just it's just an agreement, between you and I, and it just spells out what my obligations are to you. And, all I want in return is your loyalty. If you do go into an open house or you do go into a pre-sale and just here's a bunch of cards of mine, hand them to the realtor or the pre-sale person and say that you're working with the realtor. That's all I'm asking out of this. If you want to let me go and I'm not doing my job, just send me an email and just in writing and just say, look, I'm not happy with the services you're providing. I'm not going to use you anymore. That's all that contract is. The other thing that the contract does is it spells out your expected remuneration. And normally our remuneration, like the average remuneration, if you look at any of it's on the MLS. And by the way, I always tell them, look, you don't pay my remuneration. That's paid by the seller, so don't worry about that. But the only time you might have to pay it is then, if I find something that's not on the MLS, that's maybe I do door knocking and find a property that's suitable to you and it's not on the MLS, I need to get paid some way, shape, or form. And the exclusive buyer's agency agreement, is that vehicle. It tells them how much I'm going to get paid, and we negotiate that. And it allows me to ask the seller to pay it first off. And if they don't want to pay it, well, then we'll negotiate a price somewhat lower than what they think they're going to get, and that'll include you'll pay the same amount, but it'll include my commission on that. Is that okay with you? So if you have that conversation early on in the process, it's a lot better than when you come up against it and you find that somebody has a substandard commission out there for some property. They're only going to pay you 0.25 or 0.5% of the overall thing, and it's really doesn't cover your costs hardly. So that's if you have your exclusive buyer's agency agreement, you can say, look, is it okay with you if I bring a fee agreement to the seller to ask them to pay me full commission? Is that all right? And they'll say, fine, go ahead. And if they say no, we'll have to negotiate my commission otherwise, separately. And I've done that before. Client came to me, had already didn't buy the place, was buying it from their landlord, and wanted representation from me. Landlord didn't care, and I talked to the seller. I talked to the seller, look, we'll bring you an offer, no problem at all. Don't worry about it. Did I just blink out? I touched a wire and everything went haywire here, so I apologize for that. So anyway, the seller he was living in the property, he's renting from them. The seller wanted to sell it, and they were going to do an agreement. I went to the seller and I said, look, I'll negotiate a price. They want to use me, but you don't have to pay any commission on it. So I got an exclusive buyer's agency agreement with that individual. And then I presented the offer to the seller as an unrepresented party. This is before dual agency was outlawed and all that. And I didn't represent him anyway. You never want to represent two people because it puts your liability way high. So even back in the day, I wouldn't represent two people. It's just a conflict of interest. Anyhow, I went to the seller and I said, or the owner, and I said, look, we're going to bring you an offer. You don't have to worry about commission. What you see on that document is what you get. You don't pay my commission. I went to my guy and I said, look, you're going to have to pay my commission. We'll take it out of the offer that we're making, or we'll add it to the offer we're offering. So I did the exclusive buyer's agency agreement, and I did a fee agreement saying, look, you're going to have to pay me such and such. And then when we got the deal done and everything went through, and we offered him lower than what he was expecting to pay, and it covered all of my commission and everything else. So that was a really good deal for him. He saved some money. The owner was happy because they just didn't have to pay any commission. They felt that was good. They just had to take a lower price, but somehow in people's mind, accepting a lower price and not paying commission is okay. Same difference. But ultimately, I called the lawyer and I said, look, it's a little different here. You better watch out, because the seller isn't paying my commission. It's not coming out of that much. The buyer is going to give you an extra check for $5,000 or $7,000. It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot at that time, to cover my commission as well. And you're to send me a check for $7,000. My office a check for $7,000. So that's one example of exclusive buyer agency agreement. We see it all the time as well, where realtors come into my office and they're crying the blues that their client went somewhere else and their best friend signed an agreement with somebody else. Well, that's kind of what the exclusive buyer's agency protects you from. So does the DORTs, but even more so with that exclusive buyer's agency agreement. So you're going to see more about that in the upcoming time. I provided you a copy of it with your email. Have a look at it. We have the exclusive buyer's agency agreement has a Schedule A on the back. There's 3 pages and then a blank page. That's the same as the listings. The listings have about 3 pages, and then they have a blank page in the back. And that blank page is called Schedule A. Schedule A is what you fill in, and that's your secret sauce. That's what all the things you do over and above as to what you're going to do for your client. And who we got here today? Here, I think Gagan. I've seen are you there?
Yeah.
Thank you for those CMAs. They're awesome. You did 3 CMAs on an auto prop, new realtor. What are some of the extra services that you offer your clients?
What do you mean by that? If I'm
Well, CMAs were pretty special. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to put you on the spot here this morning. So, but in the CMA using auto prop, if you go into there, it accesses your zoning, it accesses the official community plan, and you can link right through it. And all that stuff are the things that he does over and above what your regular realtor might do. Now, most of you guys should be doing that anyway, but he can put that in there. He checks with the city hall because he does through auto prop. He can access the zoning and look at the zoning. Zoning will tell you how much, what your footprint can be, if it's 50% of the total square foot of the lot, or 25 or 40 or whatever it is, and how high it can be, how big it can be, and that kind of thing. So he accesses all that on behalf of his client, and same with the official community plan. Those are things that he does over and above. So that's kind of what I'm saying, guys, is that the Schedule A is for you guys to put what you want in there, but we have a blank one, or not a blank one. We have a template that we can send you that has Schedule A explains all the good things to do, but add to that. Karen, I'm sure you do things that they're over and beyond your negotiating skills and all that stuff, and your experience, and all the stuff that you do over and above that. You're gonna search high and low and knock on doors and do whatever you do. So there is a Schedule A for listings too. So make sure you're filling those out. But use these documents. Don't look at it as a negative. That BCF's asking for more paperwork and I don't look at it that way. I look at it as an opportunity for me to reach out and talk to my client, in a really positive way about what's going to happen with this whole cycle and the closing, the whole thing. So make sure you're doing that. That being said, we have another thing that the auditor said to me while we're sitting there, is he says, are you getting a copy of all your offers? Well, technically we're supposed to be. You guys are supposed to be sending me all your offers, and that's anything that you put out there. Well, that's going to become mandatory. So two things that are going to be popping up here, 3 things. All offers are going to have to be sent to the office. Now, Mike and I are talking about this, and we're looking at the logistics of it. We don't want to make this a big thing. We just want to, like we did with the DORTs, we had a separate email for that, and everybody just sent new offer, with a copy of the DORTs that they send to their client. We're going to hopefully do the same thing with the offers. So even if you don't have an accepted offer, you're supposed to send it to the office. Well, I'm not going to monitor those. That's insane. I mean, we do 1,000, 1,200 deals, actual deals, a year. If you, and every guy writes about 10 times in every deal, whatever it is. I don't know what your averages are, but that's like 10,000 deals that I'd have to look at. Well, it's unreasonable. But if they want to implement that rule, then we'll have an email that you send a copy of all your offers that you put in. Just send it to that generic email. If we need to access it, we will. When it goes live, you go through the regular channels. It's a live deal. Send it to Daisy. Daisy has the accepted offer going forward. So that's kind of the way that one goes. So we got the 3 things there going forward. So Mike, you and I talked about a while back. You were there, and you said somehow they were attaching in their signature access to a DORTs.
Yeah, in your signature, it's a really good idea. You can have a link to go to your Word docs that has your DORTs form there. So it shows and in your disclaimer under your email, it's you just give the BCFSA disclaimer. It's mandatory for me to give you the DORTs, this form, and you must please review and sign if you like and return back to me. I'll find the clause, but DORTs says you have to give it to them what the customer does with it, we have no control, nor is it mandatory. It's crazy, I know. But it just shows that every piece of email that you send, you have a DORTS attached to it. So you're shown as following the new rule.
Yeah, and I think you know, we're gonna get some more information out on that. And these are kind of frivolous things. I mean, the main thing that BCFSA should really be focusing on is the deals that are being done and that are done properly, you know, rather than all this frivolous stuff. But it is what it is, and we can't control that. And I'm not going to be negative about it and be positive about it. So you know, do send those things out to your people. Do keep the emails. I've had one where I had a realtor say, well, you know, I've been dealing with her for years. She's a friend of mine. I don't really need a DORTS. Well, no, you don't really need a signed DORTS, but you have to prove to me that you have sent it to her. So send me a copy of the email that you sent the DORTS out. Well, she couldn't provide that. And she is hemming and hawing about getting a DORTS. Well, then just go out and get a freaking DORTS. Go send it over, you know, sign it, have them sign the DORTS, you know, watch the date. It's got to be a certain time on that. I'm not going to say anything more than that. But you know, just get it signed and you know, Daisy can't release your check. Sorry. Daisy can't release your check unless she has all the forms properly filled out and signed. So you're not going to get your check otherwise. And you know, push came to shove. Rather than all these phone calls going back and forth about a DORTS, she went and got it signed, and that was it. Because she couldn't find an email that she sent them a DORTS. But according to BCFSA, that's not my rule, guys. That's BCFSA. They say we have to have that. And this guy's in our office now checking all of our deals to make sure we have all of these requirements, you know, going forward. So, you know, when we ask you for them, we're looking for them, and you know, Daisy asked for them. It's for a real reason, because BCFSA does come in and audit our accounts, and they look at all these little things, and then they subject you to criticism. And if it's late, if like for example, if I think we had one where the deal was done this day and an offer was here, but the disclosure representation was a different date after the fact, then they cited us on that, and they came out, you know. So make sure your dates all line up, that you're sending these things out, got them signed, because they do look at that kind of stuff. And if you don't want to have to do extra courses or get fined, then you know, you want to do that thing. So we you know, we kind of keep you straight and narrow on in the office. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so you said that they could fine you or make you take courses, but I thought Mike just said it's not necessarily mandatory. So I'm confused.
Well, no. I mean, I think at the time that was the other one. Before the DORTS, we had to have the form signed, disclosure, whatever it was, a representation. But on that DORTS, no, you don't have to have it signed, but you have to prove that you sent it to them.
Okay.
Right. So, but I'll tell you what, guys. I mean, talk to any experienced realtor. If they're not willing to sign a DORTS, what kind of loyalty do they have to you? Like my personal thing is that if I'm taking you out and you go and do an open house, you're signing that freaking DORTS. I don't care. You know, at least give me something here. I'm not just sending it to you, and you know, you gotta protect your own interests. And I find that my interactions with my clients, I want them to be formal. You know, I don't want them just to be, don't worry about it, you don't have to sign it. Yeah, you do. If we're going out, you know, I want you to sign this. And I prefer if we did an exclusive buyer's agency agreement, so that I know that, you know, we're working together. You know, I've got to the point in a lot of cases where I've sent it to the client, we've talked about it, they've talked to me about it, but we got the deal done before we actually signed it. You know, so shit happens. You know, in that case there, I'm not going to go back and get them to sign one now when we've already got a deal. It's, you know, it's going to be, you know, it's got an accepted offer on it. So it's up to you, you know, when you present these things, but use them to your advantage. They're talking points that you have with your client, that you're going to talk about real issues and agency and what you're doing for these people. And it gives you an opportunity to explain how good you are and what a great realtor you are and all the great things you're doing for them. So don't look at it as a negative there. And Daisy is, you know, our gatekeeper on all those things. She does that. So please don't give her a hard time about it. That's, you know, those are rules coming down from BCFSA to me, to Daisy, you know, through Mike and Heather. And, you know, we have to comply. We can't make exceptions. That's all there is to it. So when Daisy sends you something and asks you for a little more information on it, please comply. She's not doing it, because it's you. It's because that's the rules and that's the way we go. That brings me kind of to a form that we have, not a lot of questions, but occasionally we have information on. That's the next one is the FINTRAC. That's the identification. That's for money laundering, all that kind of thing. Paul has that too, and all the banks have it. Everybody has it, and I think the Royal Bank just got dinged 7 million or for whatever they did, but I don't know what the heck it was they didn't do, but they sure did. They missed the ball on that one. I'm glad they got them and not us, because if they're starting to audit the banks and looking at what the banks are doing, you can be darn sure it's going to be kind of filtering down the line to us and all that stuff. And these fines are quite serious. And me being responsible for all your licenses, I'm right in there in the pot with you. So when I get stuck in those and I want them done the right way, it's because I don't want to get fined and do courses either. I mean, it's just a small matter of doing some paperwork and we get through it. So I'm just going to share something for you on that, DORTs. The last question I had was kind of relative to Paul here, and Paul's mortgage broker has access to the credit bureaus. And what happened was one of our guys was writing an offer with an elderly lady, not older but elderly, I think in her 90s or something like this. Well, she didn't have a driver's license, didn't have a passport, didn't have anything, and he's like, I have all of her IDs expired. What do I do? I said, well, there's more than one way to do that. You can do credit reports, get some bills, get her. I said she's probably got a birth certificate, so get a copy of birth certificate, and then you're going to have to get a credit report on her. And Paul, tell us a little about those credit reports, what they kind of have on them.
Yeah, credit bureaus basically contain any and all financial information for clients. It's an all-encompassing report on any debts clients have had, any addresses they've lived at, any aliases they have. More and more, it's used as a tool for identification and information. There's 1,000 factors that go into a credit report, but we use it mainly for looking at past credit histories. Lenders, however, will look at things such as fraud flags and prior addresses that don't match up, employment that doesn't match up. It's got everything in it, and it presents a score, not only a beacon score for how good or bad your credit is, but it's now presenting a fraud score, which would flag things for lenders. So the credit reporting agency is used more and more by other institutions outside of lending as we move on.
Yeah, and so it's just another form of verification, but the verification you're getting from whoever does your credit bureau, if you refer the deal to Paul and Paul decides to do that or does a pre-approval or rate hold form, he'll do one automatically, and as long as they have a disclosure that they can share it with you, we can put it on our file as real estate. We can't have that information otherwise. We need the authorization of the client to have that information. We'll store it in the file. And if FINTRAC were to come after us for the older lady, we have a credit bureau on there, we have a birth certificate, maybe we have a tax return, something like that that's verifying her age, her address, and her name. Those are the three things there. Now, I never did figure out, let me just, I'm not going to go into this too big, but there are other ways to do it. The other big one I have is, what do you do with somebody offshore or in another city? Well, if it's another city in Canada or anywhere that we have a Century 21 office, you can send them to a Century 21 office and have them do the FINTRAC for you. So we have a form that they fill out. Excuse me, who they are, what their profession is, all that stuff, and then they can take a picture of the ID and put that person in front of them and say, okay, you're that person, that's good. Here you are, you're golden. And they send it to us and we're okay with that. Karen? You're on mute.
Yeah, please continue. Because I actually just got a buyer's exclusive signed for somebody who wants to buy property here in Vancouver, and they're in Thunder Bay. And so that was on my list of questions to ask, is what's the best way to verify their information? So that's great that this is coming up.
And we've done that for other offices where they came in from Kelowna or something like that and just showed their ID to us, and it can be really anybody in the office that does it. So I think one time wasn't away. And Angel did it for me. She took a picture of the guy's ID, identified him as is, and then she was my agent in that situation. But normally it should be a realtor or managing broker, whatever it is. A realtor's fine, but they're the same as you. Now, if you don't have that capacity, tell them to go into a notary. And I know it's a pain in the ass, but we're dealing, with foreign entities here that we've never met. And those are probably the biggest, risk that you're ever going to take. And if you don't use your due diligence, and I would say a lawyer or notary that's, registered with that country to do that. We've had a case in BC, and Mike and I know about this one, not in our office, but where they sold the property, and they sent the money to somebody who didn't own the property. So somebody who didn't own the property listed the property online. They listed with a realtor in BC and sold the property. The money was sent to them and they disappeared, of course. Well, it was a rental property, and the guy was away for a while doing his thing. He came back and said, "Well, where's my property? What's going on? Where's my rent? No rent. You sold it." Well, I didn't sell it, and off it went. And so on and on. But that was all to do with South Africa. A foreign entity had presented themselves as the owner, wanted to list the property with the realtor. The realtor listed it, did the title search, all that stuff. Well, somehow it got caught, and then BCFS all over it, FINTRAC's all over it. So that's how fraud kind of precipitates itself. So the bigger risk things to me are when you're dealing with people out of town, and not only out of town, and in Canada is one thing, but outside of Canada we have no control whatsoever. So make sure you have look them up online, do due diligence, see if their company is their company, see if the lawyer they're going to is the lawyer they're going to go to. If we have a Century 21 office in that city, I think that's probably one of the better places to go, because they can kind of suss out, well, that's not a real lawyer, that's not this or that or something else. So do that. If you have a question, let me know. Now, I'm just going to share my screen with you guys here quickly, to give you an idea of where to go. Can you see verifying identity? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys all have this link to how to verify identity, and they have all the videos here. Verifying identity with government ID. That's our main one. Now the thing is that the funny thing, I don't know how the government does this, but they make the simplest thing confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video quickly, and we're going to have a quick look at the main one that we use. So have a look at this and see what you think. Can you guys hear that?
No.
Okay, I'm not going to play it then. Bottom line on that one there, just gonna cut that off
Doug,
here.
we were, sorry to interrupt you. We were able to hear it. It was just a bit low.
Okay, well, I'll be quiet and I'll play it again.
Okay.
We are committed to helping regulated businesses meet their compliance obligations. This includes the fundamental requirement to verify the identity of a client when conducting certain transactions. There are 5 methods you can use to verify the identity of a person. This video explains how to use the government-issued photo identification document method. To use this method, a person must provide you with a government-issued photo ID, either in person or virtually, and you must ensure that the document is issued by a federal, provincial, or territorial government, or by a foreign government if it is equivalent to a Canadian document. You must ensure that the document clearly indicates the person's name, includes a photo, and has a unique identifying number. And you must ensure that the document is authentic, valid, and current. Authentic means genuine and having the character of an original, credible, and reliable document or record. Examine the characteristics of the document, like the texture, character spacing, and design features. Look for special security features like holograms and barcodes, or markers like logos and symbols. Are these features what you expected to see? Is legitimate or authentic and does not appear to have been altered or have any information affected. For example, an invalid passport due to a name change is not considered valid. Current means that the document is up to date and is not expired when the ID is verified. Once you are satisfied that the document is authentic, valid, and current, you must also ensure that the ID provided matches the name, likeness, and appearance of the person whose identity you are verifying. This verification step does not need to happen at the same time as your process to ensure that the document is authentic, valid, and current, but both steps must be completed in order to use this method. You can also use this method when a person is not physically present, but you must have a process in place to determine whether the government-issued photo ID is authentic, valid, and current. One example would be to ask the person to scan their ID into an application or technology of your choosing. This technology could then compare the ID to known characteristics, security features, or markers to determine if it is an authentic document issued by the competent federal, provincial, or territorial government authority. You must also have a process to determine whether the photo ID provided matches the name, likeness, and appearance of the person. You can do this by asking them to appear in a live video call or to send a selfie image. Viewing a person along with their photo ID by video call or virtual application is not enough to verify their identity. This video series is designed to help businesses understand their identity verification obligations under Canada's federal anti-money laundering, anti-terrorist financing law.
Okay, and then you have all the different other ways to do it here. You got, a dual process, verifying the client affiliate member. So that's what we're talking about. Where we're using an agent, down the road, and the other one is a dual thing is maybe the credit, or number two is a credit file. So you can look at all of those if you have any questions about that to kind of help yourself with that. I'm going to stop sharing that now. So, there's various ways to do that. There's lots of help in the office. You can look up FINTRAC, on your own on Google. Just type FINTRAC Canada Realtor, and I'll tell you what our obligations as realtors are. Now, what I've been doing now as a practice in my business is I take a copy of their, usually it's a driver's license or a passport or a BC, government card, something like that. And I use that, and I take a photocopy and put that in with the file. Then I fill out the FINTRAC form. Now the FINTRAC form was included in there. And one of the big things we find in there, you put, Doug Foles, realtor, whatever, but you want to be a little more descriptive on what they're doing. I'm a realtor for Century 21, or I'm a CPA. I work for, Marsh McLennan or whoever it might be. So put their, what their occupation is, not only their salesman. Well, salesman isn't good enough. Who are they? A salesman for, I don't know, Ford Motor, whatever, something like that. A little more detailed in there. Now, there's really no right or wrong answer to that, but go the extra mile. We've had where, the realtor didn't even, I said, well, look them up on the internet, look them up on, LinkedIn. What are they doing? What does it say on LinkedIn? What does it say, their professions? We found a guy, he had a whole website of his accounting business kind of thing. So, be a little more descriptive. And if it's retired, that's fine. Well, retired teacher with, Vancouver School Board, retired teacher with, Edmonton School Board. I don't know, whatever it might be, but be a little more descriptive on those ones there when you're filling them out. Get them done. Just so if we get audited, we've done our due diligence. And I think the thing here is due diligence. If any red flags come up, if the information they've given you doesn't match the credit bureau, well, then, you might have a problem there. The big thing on that is the birth date. I think Paul knows that. Even as a mortgage broker, I got the birth date wrong half of the time, and the bank would stop the whole thing and say, no, you got the wrong birth date, confirm it. So I'd have to get an ID or something like that to do it. So use your own discretion, but birth certificates, passports are good. Driver's licenses, identity cards, any BC medical card if they don't have that. I'm sure the older woman there should have had a BC medical card. I mean, if you don't have a driver's license, I mean, that's something you're going to use the rest of your life, type of thing. So she probably has some, and a birth certificate would have been for sure too. You don't throw your birth certificate just because you hit 70 or 80, whatever it is. So those kind of things going forward. Is there any questions about that while we're here? No, okay. I just wanted to talk quickly about buyers' website advertising. Website advertising, they couldn't get us on anything with BCFSA. Mike and I were laughing about that, but they're nitpicking on us, and they're asking for the Century 21 to be a little more prevalent on your websites. What everybody seems to do is they have your whole website and your branding, all that, and they have Century 21 in really small letters at the bottom at the end of the thing. Be proud of who you work for. Century 21 is a brand in itself, and it's a very valuable brand. I'd put, closer to the top or in bigger letters at the bottom, Century 21, In Town Realty on that, or even at the top, Doug Foles, whatever your team name is, it doesn't matter who you are, Doug Foles team, Century 21. I mean, use that to your advantage. So don't be afraid to put our name out there and Century 21. It's still your brand, it's still you, but it also gives you credibility too. Century 21 is a very well-known brand, and it's a very quality brand. So by putting that on any of your business cards, your website, or anything like that, I don't think it's going to detract from any of your advertising whatsoever. So please make a note that check your website and put it a little bit prominent, and if not, up the little size of at the bottom of the page. I don't care. They really couldn't get us for anything, but they're looking at that. They're coming across with that. So please just be aware of that when you're writing up your advertising. Century 21 should be prominent on any advertising you do. The last thing that we wanted to talk about is exclusive listing agency agreements. Well, Canadian Real Estate Association, in their great wisdom, decided that these exclusive listing agreements weren't the way to go. So as of January sometime, we're not allowed, according to the rules, not BCFSA, but according to our rules as members of the Canadian Real Estate Association and BCFSA and Vancouver Real Estate Board, we can take an exclusive listing. But if we advertise it outside of our own sphere of influence, our own office, or one-to-one to sending it to developers or whatever, if you send a blast email out and put it on, the internet, Facebook Marketplace, whatever it is, you're going to have to do an MLS listing. So that means that all the realtors are going to have a go at it. Now that's not a bad thing, and it's good for the client. It's good for realtors because that means we have more listings on there. Nobody's hoarding these listings. Not that they know of any of that going on. Let me explain what exclusive listing is compared to an MLS listing, multiple listing service listing. One is it's private; it doesn't go on the MLS, and the MLS listing obviously goes on the MLS and follows the MLS rules. But we used to be able to do an exclusive listing. The only time I used that was for a reason. I had one client come in; they had it advertised online for 6 or 8 months. They couldn't sell it. They had signs up, all that. They were tired of that. It was a rental property. They came to us and they said, "Look, Doug, I want to list this, but I don't want, if you know somebody, that's fine, but I don't want open house. I don't want to do all this whole thing. That's not the way I want to go on this. If you have a buyer, you have a pretty big network, let me know." Well, we took an MLS listing, or sorry, an exclusive listing on that. I went out and talked to a whole bunch of developers, and sure enough, because the zoning on the property was changing and it was multi-family from single family, we got a developer to buy it, and they couldn't figure out how I did that. Well, I talked to the right people for the zone because of the zoning change. Did that. Sometimes maybe it's a famous person. Michael Bublé wants to list his house, but he doesn't want anybody to know. Well, you don't want that on the MLS kind of thing. So, there are certain circumstances. But if you know a buyer and you know a seller, like the guy that, let's say I had another one. What I did is I had a listing for 6-8 months, went on and on and on. It's showings on it. It's out there every day. Just kind of, it wasn't 6 months, probably about 3 months. I exaggerate. But the listing expired, and it expired for a couple of weeks, and we're trying to figure out what to do. In the meantime, another realtor came and knocked on the door and said to the owner, "Look, I want to buy it. My client wants to buy it." And the owner was loyal to me, and he called me back and says, "Doug, I got this guy knocking on my door. What should I do?" He says, "Well, let me come over. We're going to do exclusive listing for a couple of weeks. Let me negotiate this deal, see if we can land this one. And if we do, we can move it on." Sure enough, I negotiated the deal. We went back and forth and up and down and sideways, got the deal done. But what that exclusive listing did, it was an agreement between him and I, well, in the office, of course, but it had the commission structure laid out there. And the commission structure on an exclusive listing, it doesn't have the information for the buyer's agent because sometimes there isn't one. But I put that in this Schedule A, saying that, you know, you're gonna charge you 7% and 3% on the deal. I'm gonna pay the other guy, 3.225 in the first 100 and 1.1625 in the balance. So in fact, the exclusive listing was our fee agreement. Got the deal done and moved on. But other than that, it's really hard to sell these darn things. We don't have enough capacity without the MLS, so they should be on the MLS. The other one where we do exclusive listings is these assignment of contracts. So those ones there, sometimes the developer won't allow us to put it on the MLS. So I don't really, I'll have to find out what the nuances are there, where your client wants to list that, but we can't put it on the MLS. Well, that could be a problem, because it's not the realtor or the seller that's not allowing it in the MLS, it's the developer, because they haven't sold out on their properties, whatever. So I'll have to ask whoever the powers that be go for that. So that's kind of the compliance thing that we have for now. Just to summarize that, you're probably going to have to send in all of your offers that you make eventually in the next little while. I think in February. Your DORTs should be included with all of your first emails to your client, or presented to them, in your open house or wherever. And usually it's electronically now, so you can just send them an email. Usually it's an email. So I would put that. I would have a little file folder set aside with my DORTs in it, with all my name and everything on it, ready to go, and just fire it off. Just add it to your email and send it off. Exclusive buyer's agency agreement are going to be coming into vogue. Read those. Get in practice of learning how to explain them to your client. Fill one out. Do a Schedule A on that one. Tell them all the great things that you can do over and above everybody else. Get that ready to go. Put that in your little portfolio. And then every email you go out, you can send those out and you can explain it to them. There's probably a video somewhere on the exclusive buyer's agency agreement. I haven't. If I find that, I'll send it to everybody. Is there any questions about any of that so far?
I do.
Yeah.
Mike was talking about a possible clause to add with the DORTs and your signature on your emails.
Yeah, if you look at your signature on your email, you can put a link to it in there.
Yes, for sure. But I think Mike said as well, there is a clause that goes with it from FINTRAC.
Well, no, I don't think there is one from FINTRAC. It's just something.
No, it's just a clause to direct them to the link. What the link
Oh, I
is.
see.
Yeah.
That should suffice at BCFSA. We never know. They never give us a yes or no answer. They're always, oh, well, we feel that this and feel that. It's like our website and our advertising. It should be more prominent. Well, what the hell is prominent? And what size exactly is prominent? What are you telling us? They don't give us these answers, and they just kind of leave it vague, and that's a bit of a problem. So we're just trying to comply with everything without causing too much ado with your clients and stuff. So that's kind of it for me, Mike, for today. I kind of covered some of the tough things in compliance. We did DORTs, FINTRAC, we did the exclusive buyer's agent, exclusive listing agreement, those kind of things. So if you have any questions, call me. I'm always around to help those out.
Thanks, Doug. Great job. Question for you, Doug. I had this come across my table yesterday regarding AI. There's an AI service now that reads minutes and then gives you a report on the minutes. And I don't know if that holds up in the court of law for that we should have had our due diligence in doing the minutes. Have you heard of any of these apps?
Well, yeah, I have, Mike, and they've been around for quite a while, actually. They have one, condo.com or condodocs.com, and that was an AI summarization of what's going on. It's better than nothing, but it's not as good as maybe even an inspector. And it doesn't alleviate your responsibility to actually read those and give them some feedback on it. So, as a professional realtor, I mean, we're not ultimately liable for the minutes, but we are supposed to give our client a summary of them. An AI summary would be gray area. It's better than nothing, but not as good as, you going through them and giving them a summary yourself.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, and I just had Rihanna come in and kind of reassure me, it's something to use to expedite the review and maybe look at, it points out maybe some red flags or something to take a deeper dive. But we have a responsibility, and so do the lawyers, to review minutes of the strata docs.
Yeah, and the thing is with, I wouldn't use just a generic AI. If I did use an AI, I'd use the condodocs.ca guys, because they're out there professing that they're going to give you a professional summary of it, through whatever means. And at least they're liable. But if you use just a generic AI chat GPT and go in there and do that, then I don't know that it knows what it's looking for.
No, this is
No.
a professional service that specializes in this. It's
Yeah,
not an
they've been
AI.
around for a while. We've used them. It's better than nothing. But I even had some of our guys go into the official community plan and scan the official community plan, put it into Chat GPT and get a summary to help explain it to them what was there, and do scan the zoning and see what that, if that would help, because there's so much information out there, it just melts it down into, a few finer points. I don't know if that ever happened. Gagan, did you ever do that on the official community plan? I don't know if he's there. I think he went to sleep here. He works night shift, so. Oh, there he is. He's back. No, he's gone. He's probably sleeping. Anyway, Mike, the answer to that is you can use it, but I would only use it as a kind of a subsource. I think I would always read through those minutes myself. It's not that big of a deal. Once you know what you're looking for, you look for the red flags, and you get the Form B, and it says if there's any assessments. You look through the minutes. If you see any engineer's report, that's a red flag. You can look through the depreciation report, go to the summary, see what they're saying there. So they're not that hard, but us as realtors, all of us should know how to read those. So there you go. I'm like BCFSA. I don't really give you a hard, fast answer.
No problem, no problem. That just came across the table. And Karen, I think an easy way to do this to have a link is you blog about what the DORTs is about. In your blog, you have a link to a PDF that you house on your Google Docs. And then in your signature of your email, you say, please press the link to review the DORTs form that's mandatory by BCFSA for me to give you. And then when they click on it, you're driving business to your website, which is the whole idea. And then they can click on that link to find the DORTs. But we'll work on something here with Angeli for the Century 21 emails. And then when we figure out the method to the madness, which should be easy, you could use that for any of your email preferred portals. So thanks, Doug. I think this January is all about prospecting. It's about prospecting. It's about showing up and being accountable, because we're now got 50 weeks left of the year or less. So it starts to speed up pretty quickly. But everybody should be showing up for work, doing the open houses, talking to the agents that have listings, and asking them politely if you can do an open house for them. You got to suck up for that. Showing up is 70% of the effort, is just getting yourself ready for this. You all should have, and I said this last week, your 30-second elevator pitch. Everybody should have something to say when someone says to you, hey, Rihanna, why should I use you to help me buy a home? Or why should I use you to help me sell my home? Because you should be able to have a 30-second pitch to get to that formal meeting, to get them interested. But if you just go you're not going to get anywhere. I promise you that one, because I would never hire you if that was your pitch. Ask us for help. Ask Angeli for marketing efforts to promote your stuff. Here's case in point. Stephanie Orr, she's down in the desert. They have a place in the desert. She's promoting this waterfront community in the desert. Yes, it's waterfront in the desert. And I just simply said, I saw her posting. She's starting to going to do a lot of these. Make sure that we get it so we can promote those efforts. That's a referral connection for her. So if you have something special that you're doing, send it to us. We'll market it out there for more eyes when we all do it. I had something else here. Ask us for help. Please, if you have an idea or something you want to run by us or need ideas, come down and sit down with us and we can make a plan for you or start a plan for you. But you can't, this is a lonely business. Don't do it by yourself, guys. This is something that we all need to help each other with. If you have buyers for listings that we have in the office, come to that listing agent first. It's easier to do business with people that you know and you respect and trust than agents on the outside that you really don't know who they are or what they're all about. That's all I have today, Doug.
Our man has a question.
Yeah.
Hi, so regarding the AI, Mike mentioned, I've talked to one of the companies that they are doing that kind of stuff. They're doing rent evaluation, price evaluation, and they're gonna work on the minutes and the strata documents. And they asked me the same question that I would use it as a realtor. I said I would try it, test it, and see how does it work, but I wouldn't use it. And again, they're gonna be costly, so I would again see how much is the cost, and then I would use it as one of my sources. So for like, I take a look at the documents and I use Aaron as my inspector, and he also does check the strata docs as well. And additionally, I might use it, but it wouldn't be only source. That's what I told them. That's after checking them and see if they do work. They asked me to check their rent evaluation and price evaluation. So out of 3 units I did, one was completely wrong, one was close but still wrong, and one was right. And I told them that we spend time, especially for the price evaluation. The realtors, they don't do rent, but we need to find out the rent. For rent evaluation, they were working with BMO Bank for like mortgages. But I said, I don't know if the client asks, let's say the property they're buying, how much would be the rent there? I said that would be like all the websites it's available, but we wouldn't use one website. And the most of the problem that I notice is these are the very tech guys that they are trying to find a niche in real estate market and use the AI that is very hype, but they don't have the real estate background and they don't know the regulations and they don't know a lot of things. That's kind of a problem so far, I've noticed. But yeah, that's what I told them.
Huh, good.
Yeah, it's all new stuff. So keep your eyes open if you guys want to run by some services that you have been approached on. Give it to me for another opinion. I found out another one for kind of prospecting is, promote other services. Promote your electricians and your plumbers and your landscapers and your restaurateurs. Promote those guys because you have experienced great services with them. Let them know that you've done it. Send them the link to it. Chances are it's going to come back and they'll promote you or chat you up on their social media, which is just gaining more positive attention. So that's all I got, Doug, for today. I am doing my prospecting all week and stuff like that. And if you guys know of a good realtor or somebody good that wants to be in the business, introduce them to me, phone Doug, and let's have them in and have a chat. We meet a lot of people, at least I'm meeting a lot of people. Not everybody I think is a fit here, but I'm always looking for the right fits that can benefit not only you, but the company and the services that we stand for. So that's all I got.
Right?
Have a
Thanks,
great
Mike.
week, guys. If you need me, call me.
Gagan, can you stay on for a bit? I want to talk to you, please. Everybody else, adios. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. So Gagan, are you there? Or have you saw some Z's or something? Where are you, Gagan? Well, I guess you're not there, so. We'll talk tomorrow, 10 o'clock for your class. We'll go over those CMAs you did, so. Anyway, thanks everybody. Bye now.